Hi everyone. The title of this video should be Katabasis went wrong. So I have read Katabasis. I've been waiting for a long time to read this book. Finally, I got an arc, and so Arif Kuang is one of those writers whose ideas are great, but the execution always falls short. I don't know why. I have read Yellowface. It was wildly entertaining, and yet it seemed to me that it could have been better, way better. Uh, it seemed like those literary thrillers, common literary thrillers, similar to that, and the ideas were great. So these are about stealing identity and all that. And lots of readers' interpretations were like, oh, I hate Joan, the protagonist. But my reading experience was a bit different because I dislike Joan and I also dislike Athena. Like, both of them were horrible. So, and Joan is the protagonist, so you end up liking her a bit. I think you should like her a bit, unless you'd have a horrible reading experience since she is the protagonist. You have got to like her a bit. So even though you all know June is a horrible person, or she did something very horrible, so people aren't horrible all the time, right? So I also found myself empathizing. Apparently I can talk. So we can also start to feel sorry a bit, um, sorry for Joan. And so that was my reading experience. And then I also watched some author interviews and learned that Arif Khan herself intended to be that way. She also thinks that we should start to feel sorry for June, and and so that was my first Arif Kong book. I wanted to start with the Poppy War, but I couldn't bring myself to read it because all I see is that, oh, this is so sad, this happened, this chapter is tremendously horrible. You have to prepare yourself to read this chapter, and so I haven't read it yet, but hopefully I'll read it this year, because this year seems to me to be a RF Kuang year for me. I have read Katabasis and I am currently also reading Babel, which I am enjoying more, I must say, because Katabasis, it was verbose and boggy with descriptions, and it could have been shorter. The idea was great and we got into the action immediately. We descend immediately. And but then there seemed lots of descriptions only to show off her knowledge about various hellish descriptions that don't serve the plot. They are only there because to show off, and they don't serve the plot. And I wish there were more interactions between our protagonists, Peter and Alice. I think they were good, and I like Peter more overall. And in the general Kuang style. Both of the protagonists, they are also not perfect. They are sometimes very annoying, and their motives for this undertaking, this big undertaking, start to get more clear as we continue, and and wouldn't I wouldn't be completely surprised if we see more and more people DNFing this book, you know, because it's dense and not in a good way, you know. And the resolution and the climax, there were some very exciting moments and very horrible and almost spooky, and I loved those bits. The antagonists, they're very good, and I don't want to talk more about it because I want it to be a surprise, and there were some real spooky elements, and I loved those parts. But the resolution and the end of the novel, they were a bit, lackluster, and I wanted to have more at the end and less in the middle. I know it doesn't make any sense, but yeah, there were bits in the middle that could have been cut, and I have rated it 3 stars, I think. Yes, 3 stars. And I think this video is mostly spoiler free, so there's that. And hopefully I'll enjoy Babel more, or Babel. I don't know how to. I think both are right, Babel or Babel. And so far I'm enjoying Babel more. So hopefully I will be back with a positive video next, or not. It will be a surprise, I think. So bye bye.